can't imagine going through something like that, and what all was happening in her heart.
Another
as she,
child lost.
yeah.
No children now.
So she's trying to express, all this. And Maggie, you sat down with her for quite a length of time. What was it like for you? What was your biggest takeaway from that time spent with Monique?
I think how strong her faith is. People were asking me after, what was it like sitting down with Monique Lepine? And the first thing I would say to people is the fact that she was in a Bible study when she heard, when she found, or before, when she heard that there was a shooting. And she had asked for prayer
For the mother.
For the mother of this killer, not knowing she was the mother of this killer. And I just see how strong her faith has been throughout this whole thing, and how strong it's becoming throughout it as well. Being a minister, starting to go to different churches and speak about restorative justice. She's not allowed this to just overshadow her life. She's allowed her faith in Jesus to really reign throughout it all.
And yet it took 22 years for her to forgive herself.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not like this was a cakewalk.
Well, she's the mother of 2 children who have taken their lives. that's a difficult thing I couldn't imagine going through that. She talks about, we sat down for, I think, 2 hours. It was a long interview, a great interview. But one thing was her turning point in all of this was she was sitting in church. She'd lost both of her children, and she just cried out to God. She said she laid on this woman's shoulder and she said, if I die now, don't even bother, because I'm tired, and cried out to God. And it was after the Dawson College shooting that things started to turn around. She realized, I need to reclaim back my life. I need to talk about how you can come out of this, how you can forgive yourself. As you said, Moira, it took a long time, and how I can help others. And so, Mark Lepine's name was brought throughout all of the news broadcasts right after Dawson College. Everything was being relived. And so she was able to say, okay, I'm going to break my silence. After 17 years, I'm going to speak about this. And I'm going to become a champion for others, and I'm just going to speak about my faith and how important that is. And so that's what she's done. She goes to churches, she speaks about restorative justice, she goes to jails. So she's doing something. She's living her life and saying, okay, God, you gave me this, now what do I do about it?
And she's had opportunity to meet some of the families of those that her son killed the children of. And so that was, I'm sure, must have been really something for her, and to make that connection.
Yeah, she speaks about that as well, and just talking about forgiveness as well.
The takeaway for me here, tomorrow Carol Kent joins us. Her new book, Between a Rock and a Grace Place. Her son doing life, maximum security prison for murder in Florida. Her new normal is something she would never have expected or chosen. But the surprise of God in the absolute worst thing that could happen in your life. These women are illustrating that there's hope, no matter how dark and desperate your life circumstances. And God's still writing your story.
Well, and that's it. And even her last statement in this interview was that, she still loves her son. And how do you, as a mother, you've seen your child do all of this. And she was saying, when she speaks to young criminals and they ask her, do you still love your son? And she knows that question's coming from a deep place, because they're wondering if their parents still love them. And ultimately, she still loves her son. She doesn't love what her son did. She doesn't love what her daughter did. But there's still that love, a mother's love that you can never take away. And so how do you reclaim that, and how do you bring faith to that discussion? That's exactly what she's done.
Well, Maggie, thank you for bringing us this
amazing
very
surprise,
gripping report. Yeah,
wow.
And maybe there are people watching, Moira, that they're just kind of beating themselves up. Maybe they're just saying, I have such turmoil in my family, or maybe you're feeling because perhaps you didn't raise your kids right, or they've done something, and then you're just that unforgiveness of your own self, like Monique went through. You can have that freedom that Monique has felt, because she gave it over to God. She gave all her circumstances to Him, and she said, God, take it. I want to have the forgiveness that you provide, and I want to have healing inside. You can do that. You can call our prayer lines as well if you want. You want to talk to someone. Say, here's what I'm going through. Here's what I feel I need to forgive myself about. You can call 1-866-273-4444. Talk to someone anytime, day or night.